She has a long history of sales-based positions, which has allowed her to attain the skill set required to be a rising star in the real estate industry.
Mm.
She is at Keller Williams Realty-East Bay. And what she's trying to let everybody know that their team of experts represents the best and brightest in the industry, and they are always striving to lead in the field in research, innovation, and consumer education. So she is a full-time professional realtor with an eye for detail, strategic marketing plans, and extensive market knowledge. She has the perseverance to follow through follow through, y'all, to needed that to make your next real estate transaction a successful one. And here in the Bay Area, how badly do we need this information, you guys?
Oh, we definitely need the information.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I remember a time when you could buy a house here, and it was just not that huge of an undertaking. And now, yeah, it's just
You got to give up your firstborn kid or something to get a house in the Bay Area.
Seriously,
Like, I got to
you
give my
have to-
firstborn kid. I got to
right?
cut off a limb somewhere.
Yes,
and,
it's
you know.
just it's too much for some people, but it sounds to me like it can be done. And Ms. Williams is here to hip us to the realness on
Yes.
how we gonna do it.
Yes.
Welcome,
Miss
is
Well,
welcome,
thank
Ms.
you guys
Nia.
so much. That was an amazing introduction. Honestly, I need to record that so that when I get my clients, I send them that message.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Come on.
Absolutely, absolutely. But tell us, Nia, what do you do?
Well, I am a real estate agent. I'm a realtor here in the Bay Area of California, San Francisco, Contra Costa, Solano, San Joaquin. Honestly, I go up that way as well. But yeah, real estate is kind of where it's at for a lot of people right now. And I'm so excited about what's happening in the market. A little scared because, we all don't know what's to come, but this is some amazing time for great opportunities for a lot of people, first-time home buyers, and those generational breakers of, wealth when it comes to real estate. So,
Well,
I'm
are you
so
from
excited.
the Bay Area?
Not originally. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Show me St. Charles.
yes, I used to
So-
live there. I hear that.
Yes, and so my grandmother and all of my this extended family, they still live there. I have brothers there as well, and my dad, and so I do go back often. They are over in the district of Ferguson, so I know y'all heard about everything that happened back
Yeah.
then.
Oh, yes.
Of course.
We're gonna keep it back then. But yeah, so I migrated to California when I was around 10.
Okay.
And so I've been ingrained in the culture out here. I've lived in almost every city from Treasure Island all the way up through Sacramento,
Wow.
Vacaville, and everything in between. So I'm very well versed in the Bay Area and just
Yeah.
everything it has to offer. There's some amazing opportunities for people when it comes to housing. There's some amazing opportunities for people when it comes to employment. But a lot of people are migrating from other lands, other countries, just to come here and snatch up those opportunities from the people
And
who
driving-
originated from here.
And driving up the market.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh
They're
my
bidding
God.
like crazy
Yeah.
on these houses.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so-
You know?
It's free market.
It's a free market?
Right?
Okay.
Just a little bit of background. So I used to work for a rental car company. And being a manager for that company, seeing a lot of the deals that were taking place, like Apple, right? So Apple were hiring a lot of employees from other countries and flying them and their families out here, giving them some amazing salaries. And
Yeah.
so they're picking up those homes that people who currently live here just don't have the opportunity of being able to purchase because they don't have the wealth when it comes to the salary base. So it was a lot of that coming in. So you see a lot of influx of migrating to California because Silicon Valley has a lot going on technology wise. So there's a lot of things happening, but we're not able to snatch up those opportunities. And with the current market being so competitive right now in 2021, I am afraid for that first-time home buyer that thinks they're going to be able to come in and purchase home with little to no money.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
So as a strategic buyer, if I'm a first-time home buyer, what are some things that I need to be equipped with?
First of all, there's credit score. I feel like a lot of people just don't have the credit that they need. And yes, you can come into a first-time home buyers program with, a 680. But my question is, why would you want to? Right? Even though that's the bare minimum threshold to get into it, my question is, if you know that your interest rate could possibly be cheaper, if you know that your overall mortgage payment could possibly be cheaper, if you were to try to attain a larger credit score, why not go for the gold, right? So
Absolutely.
with a larger credit score, you have a little bit more flexibility as far as your payments, because everyone doesn't want to pay a lot of money. And realistically, looking at the rental market, these houses are going, even the houses and the apartments are so expensive. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,600, $2,200.
Yep.
That's mortgage somewhere for someone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in the current market, people just can't afford it. So you need to have your credit score on point. Another thing is you need to have some savings.
Mhm.
A lot of time when I'm having consultations with my clients, and I don't think there's a disconnect between what you're pre-approved for and what your budget is. And a lot of people
Mhm.
don't even understand budget. Like, what is the budget for your household?
Mhm.
How many dollars does it take for you to sustain your living, your groceries, your PG&E, your health insurance, things like that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
but
So
a
you
lot
wanna
of people
take
in
those
our
things-
community are living check to check as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And grew up that way, and that's the mindset that we have. So it's kind of like helping them reprogram their mind to understand that no, you have to create a certain budget if you really want to be a home buyer.
Mindset is definitely one of them. That's why for my clients that are in like the A position, so I have different positions for clients that are in different brackets, I would say.
Mhm.
So my A position clients are the ones that are ready to buy. They are pre-approved.
Mhm.
They understand their savings and their budget, and we've had that full conversation about what they can spend, and they are ready,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
My B buyers are more so someone that has 3 obstacles. Either they are not pre-approved,
Mhm.
either they are working on their credit.
Mhm.
They need to increase that so they can get the pre-approval, or they're working on their savings so that they can go in and actually have some skin in the game in this particular industry.
What is the lowest credit score that you would recommend to people?
Why are we shooting for the low?
No,
right?
we're not
How
shooting.
bad can my credit?
We are not shooting for the low, but like we talked about in the beginning, this is the Bay Area.
Yeah.
A lot of us have been living paycheck to paycheck for a really long time, have not focused on raising our credit score. There are so many people in our community who have never even thought about their credit score, never even looked at their credit score. I know people like that, that don't even have a Credit Karma app on their phone or any of that stuff. They have no clue what their credit score is, and they are willfully ignorant because they've gotten themselves in debt, they've gotten themselves in trouble, old credit cards that they haven't paid. They don't want to know, and it's a fearful thing. It's emotionally and psychologically,
It
it's
brings
a
up a lot
block.
of stress.
They
Yes.
don't want
You know?
to know. And so and I've had this conversation with people before about, coming into a situation with all of the knowledge about your situation. So like we have to know what our credit scores are,
Absolutely.
and
with
so
my clients, with our initial consultation, we have those conversations.
Okay.
I actually have 3 books that I send out. And I just recently created these because I found that I was having the same conversations and I needed to figure out a way to streamline my system so that I can work more effectively for my active buyers
Mhm.
because the market is so competitive, but still be able to take care of my current buyers that were working on whatever situation in their life they were working on.
Mhm.
So I have books that I can now send out to them.
Nice.
And it does require them to do their own homework.
Yes.
Are these
Yes.
books like I can get on Amazon type books, or is this
Well,
like your own personal
No,
like
these are
little
my own
packet?
personal
Oh, okay.
books for
wow.
my systems, the way in which I guide my clients
Okay.
through the process. I am very big on education. So if you're a first time home buyer coming to me as a client, you're gonna get educated. We're not going through this process of me just letting you buy this
So you're
home.
not just gonna let me just like
No,
mess up
absolutely
this whole
not.
process
Thank
for
God.
myself,
Thank
you know?
God, because so
And sell me
many
a
people.
dream.
Yes, right?
That's right. And so many people do. And like, even I was talking about this when me and my husband bought our townhouse in Hercules. The image online, it sucked me in so hard. I watched it every day, and I would go, and the music was all soothing.
It invites you in.
It
And
was
the
a spell they put on
tour,
you.
it was
Miss
one of those
Kenya.
online
Virtual
virtual
tours.
tours, honey.
Uh-huh.
And I kept going back day after day till the realtor called me or emailed me and was like, I see you looking at my property every single day. And I'm like,
Wow.
I love it.
You're an emotional buyer.
Yes, I was an emotional buyer, and that sunk me. That sunk us later on
Yeah.
when the market bottomed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that the professionals that you're hiring for this process are going to educate you. I tell my clients all the time, and this is one thing that I am a stickler for. As a buyer's agent, if you are my client, you don't pay me.
Yeah.
I don't receive any money from my clients that I'm currently working with that are in the buyer's position. But you do pay your lender. And a lot of the times they don't want to ask the lender questions. I don't know if they're afraid to sound ignorant or just, ill-informed
Maybe
about.
they don't have the right questions to ask, or since they've never done the process
Yeah.
before, they don't know what to ask.
Well, I get that, but as my client, I give you those questions.
Yeah.
You get a whole 2 pages of questions
Ask
Mhm.
with
this.
notes.
You give them a cheat
you
sheet.
can take the notes.
It's a cheat
Yes.
sheet that you give
Yeah.
them. Okay.
But people have to understand your realtor is not purchasing this home for you. They're not
Right.
living in this home for you.
Yeah.
They're not going to be paying that mortgage for you, right? So
Mhm.
you need to make sure that you understand the ins and outs of your homes. I also equip my buyers at the end of their transactions with home buyers books for maintaining your home. I'm not just going to help you buy this house. I'm going to teach you how to maintain this house.
Mhm.
I'm going to help you set up a bank account depending on what type of strategy we've gone in to purchase this home. I'm going to help you set up a bank account so that you can pay for whatever issues you may come into in the future so that it doesn't affect your next purchase, right? So even when we're buying that first house, we're having conversations about not just you buying a home right now. What are your
Right.
overall real estate goals
Oh,
for
wow.
not just you
Wow.
and your family?
Yeah,
I encourage, and I had a young lady that purchased a home for me last year. Her boys were right there center front. Every conversation that we had, she's like, hold on one second. Boys, come in the room. I need you guys to listen to this.
Wow.
We're having conversations as a whole. And these children, when I say children, they're all under 17,
Yeah.
18. They were not in a position to make a decision,
Right.
but they were in a position to learn something.
That's right.
You gave them some game.
Yes.
Right.
You're giving them a game on real estate.
I encourage families to be present, and it doesn't have to be immediate families. We just did so depending on my clients and their preferences, when I have closings for my buyers, I will do videos for them.
Mhm.
And some of the videos are just me giving them gifts and then, touring the home. But the last, not the last, but a purchase that I did in December, we ended that transaction, I want to say a few days right before Christmas. So I felt really good about that one because I was able to give my clients keys for Christmas. It was the best thing ever. But I had a housewarming for her.
Oh, wow.
And so all of her family was there. We had, champagne for the adults and sparkling cider for the kids. I had the charcuterie boards
Mhm.
and, just all of their gifts, and the entire family was able to be there. I had both of their mothers, the wife and the husband's mother there to experience this. The husband was able to give a toast to his family just to be part of this, situation.
Yeah.
And I am all about teaching our young people that this is possible.
Mhm.
I wish someone would have told me this when I was 18.
Amen.
Right out of high school, I would have
Amen.
became a real estate agent.
Amen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and why do you think it is that people aren't learning about real estate in public education?
In schools,
Mhm.
because it's a tool for the wealth. It's a
Mhm.
tool for the wealthy.
Mhm.
And if we're being honest, real estate has been in the past, and I can say it's getting better. There are some things in place that allow us now to do some things that we couldn't do before.
Mhm.
When you come into real estate, as far as getting your license, they teach you a lot of the history of real estate.
Mhm.
But there is a really great book. It's called The Color of Law.
Yeah, I know
And
that book.
This
Yeah.
book talks
Mhm.
about all of the discrimination
Oh, sure.
that happened in the past.
Oh, yeah.
with people of colors,
Redlining,
exactly.
contract
Yeah,
sales.
Steering,
let's break
all
that
of
down
it.
really quick.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose anybody during
Yeah.
this conversation.
Right.
So when you hear the term redlining, what definition would you put on it being in the industry?
For me, it's
To keep the black people out of white neighborhoods. That's the definition. Throw
Well,
it out there.
creating neighborhoods that are
Yeah.
only for the underserved.
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it goes to the extreme. As in the past, an agent was capable of losing their license if they pursued a home for a particular demographic of person.
Wow.
Right. So
Wow.
it gets deep, and
It
if
is
I can
really
be honest, the history of it bothers me. It makes me crawl a little bit in my skin
Mhm.
because, and the reason why I say that, the market right now today is so competitive. When I currently got into real estate about 2.5 years ago, my goal, my passion was first time home buyers. I want people who look like me, who come from where I come from, who may not have an advantage to win in this game. And my sole purpose was first time home buyers. That's all I want. But if I can be a little bit transparent, when the markets shift, I did have an inner conversation with myself as to, is this what I really want? Because now my job has become increasingly harder. My first time home buyers are struggling with not having the income, not having the credit score.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I really had a conversation with my assistant and a few of the people that I work with as far as my lenders about, where do the rich people live? Because I need their numbers. But I had to take a step back, because what I realized is that it's possible for that person that is willing to sacrifice. It is possible. What are you willing to sacrifice in your life to make your dreams come true?
And when you say sacrifice, what do you mean?
So do you have Hulu, Netflix, cable, HBO Max, Disney Plus? Why? So you can live right now, in the future is what in the past, because it's never going to happen for you. If you're living check to check, first of all, the number one thing to do is scale back. You are living above your means. So that means you need to start budgeting. Write down everything that you spend out. And then the best way to do this is 3-month span. Use your debit card or credit card or whatever for every transaction that you have. After that 3 months, you take those reports and you highlight your necessities. What is your rent and or mortgage? Well, rent, we're talking about renters.
Yeah.
What is your rent? What is your PG&E? How much did you spend on groceries? What, and then start looking at those things that you can pull apart or take away from your life that will bring you more monetary gain. So if you have Netflix, Hulu, just unsubscribe from all of it. Bring the money back into your pockets. If you have magazines that you know you're not reading, they're still coming to your front door for whatever reason, unsubscribe from it.
Is there any good apps that you can tell our viewers to kind of like download that help you budget like that kind of give you that help you get organized?
I started to use one. I want to say when I first got into real estate, my number one thing was, I'm going to be making all this money. I want to make sure I put it in the right place. And so I immediately started taking a few Dave Ramsey courses just to learn how to manage my money, maybe look at some things that I wasn't currently looking at, like my insurance for my vehicle. If you are living in California and you have that California minimum liability, you got to think of it as, realistically, the only reason you don't have like full coverage is because $25-$30.
Yeah.
So you don't want to pay an extra $30 a month so that you can have full coverage on your vehicle. You'll potentially get into an accident. It's not if, it's when. Because it's not necessarily you. It could be someone else.
Absolutely.
But learning things like putting away your deductible. I have my deductible sitting in the bank account. So when I get into an accident, it's never an issue. I'm not that person that's outside like, oh my God, my vehicle. It's like, oh, is everybody safe?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We'll get the rental.
Right.
The deductible will pay for it.
Right.
But it's just that mindset. And when you're coming into this game of real estate, yes, we do have large potential to make a lot of money, to build equity, to build some things for our family that we never had before. But if you go into it with the same mindset that you once had as a renter, you're never going to succeed.
Well, and also I think that a lot of people in our community, for sure, will have a tendency, and this, I am speaking also of myself, y'all, because this was me back in the day, put our money in things that make us appear to be
you wanted to look rich.
So we want to look
right. Be rich.
And so yes, absolutely. Thank you. And so I remember I spent all of my money on shoes when I was younger, to the point where I had restaurant can racks full of shoes. And my husband said to me after we got married, do you want a home or do you want more shoes?
And he kept it real with you.
Right, he did, because I had just always been very irresponsible. I'm much more responsible now. But back then I just wasn't responsible, and I never had anybody put it to me like that. Like, what is my future going to be? Here we are, I'm newly married. I want to have children, all of these things. We were renting this place that was about the same size as this studio. And so pushing ourselves out of that hood rich mindset and out of that that image that are clothes or are, Gucci this and Louis Vuitton that. That's not reality. That's just an image.
Mhm.
And so it's hard to get some people out of that and into your future,
Yeah.
So what would you say to people about kind of moving forward and kind of pushing yourself out of that? Because we know every one of us knows people like that,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to wake up with a fire in your belly every day for this.
Mm-hmm.
When I made, so
it's not just a hobby.
It's not just a hobby. I'm considered the lecturer of my family.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the point where I learned how to set boundaries for my life.
Mm-hmm.
And within setting those boundaries, it allowed me to open up my mind a little bit more about the potential of what my finances could do for me if I wasn't giving myself away into poverty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can give, I mean, and if we can be honest, us as Black people,
Mm-hmm.
we support our families in a way that I have seen other cultures do and don't, right? So we are robbing Peter to pay Paul. And those even those expressions, I don't even want my children to know what that means.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Right? We're
I'm
doing
with you.
things that other cultures are not doing. And within doing so, we are kind of putting ourselves a little bit behind the eight ball. So yes, the Gucci belts, the everything has to be Gucci, the following the trend of the rappers or whoever that current artist is and what they have and what they can afford. You got to understand those celebrities are getting those things for free.
Right.
They are walking advertisement for those companies for us to consume whatever it is that they are pushing.
Right.
So
Yes,
it's about mindset. I woke up and I said, I do not want to be like anybody that I have currently seen in my family. I want to be better. And I know it's not about feeling like I am better than anyone else.
No.
Because I want to bring you up with me.
Right.
In this game of real estate, it is to be sold, not told. And I know in a
Ooh,
lot of other industries,
You're gonna give up all the game
Got
today.
the nuggets.
No one is giving this information away for free. And I told myself, I am going to give it away for free until I'm done talking about it.
Right.
until
Until you don't need to. Until you don't need to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like what you're touching on right now, mindset, right? And I'm a true believer, especially being in the financial industry. I'm a true believer that we can do anything we put our mind to, right? And you mentioned something very important about one, having fire in your belly, and two, at least what I caught is that you woke up one day and your mindset had shifted. Right?
Yes.
So had anything happened prior to that? Or was it literally just a miraculous moment like, I want to be different today?
I think it was a few different things. So I told you guys I was working at this rental car company. And it was a great company, Fortune 500 company. They did a lot of amazing things. I'm an operation manager, amazing salary, great benefits. I got a free car, free gas, free insurance. I'm taking trips. I want to start a family. And I have a conversation with my supervisors, my higher ups. And at the time, they were all male. Not to say anything about the male gender. I love y'all. At the time, they were all male. And I expressed this to them. I want to start a family. And what does this look like for my upward mobility for this company or with this company? And they pretty much in unison said, oh, you should work harder so that you can get a better position so you can have the weekends off. Is what they told me.
Nice.
And in that moment, I was like, what am I doing here? Because I have a vision. I have a dream. Like Martin Luther King. I have a vision for my life of what I want it to be. I want to be that cool mom. I want to be the mom that's at everything. I'm the one that's on the sidelines, whoop my kid while they running down the field. I'm the one that's sewing that tutu because my son wants to be a ballerina. I am that mother. I don't care. I'm going to be present. And what I realized in corporate America as a woman is that having a family was a deterrent for them to give me more money, to give me a better position.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, how do I create this for myself? And I literally went home and I created a pros and cons list. I wrote down everything that I love to do. And initially, the forces that be were pulling me towards working with the youth. As a manager in a lot of these positions that I work for with these companies, I would see a lot of youngsters come in that were just misinformed about how to get into the work industry. Yeah. You coming in sagging, or your mom's bringing you in there, by your ear and telling me that she wants you to have a job. And I'm like, well, ma'am, if you got to pull them in here, I'm gonna have to pull them around to do the job. So when he can come in here on his own fruition and tell me that he wants to work, then
Be
I'll put him to work.
self-sufficient.
That's right.
And I was going towards that because I wanted to teach them how to dress for interviews, teach them how to talk, and they talk about some in an interview. I wanted to teach them how to research these companies that you say you want to work for. What can the company give you and benefit you? Right? Do they have 401k? Are there stock benefits? You know, so, but after creating this list for myself, a lot of things came into play. My grandmother was an interior designer. Everything in our home, I'm talking about the curtains match the drapes, match the comforter, match the pillows, you know, so I kind of got that from her. My dad has been in construction and a contractor my entire life. Every home that we have lived in, he has expanded. He's been the neighborhood handyman. I have seen him literally transform whole attics into whole living spaces, whole basements into apartments. And I've been engulfed in this culture of real estate without knowing that I was engulfed in it.
Right.
And when I started looking at all the things that I wanted from my life, real estate checked every box. I can bring my kids with me to work. They're going to learn how to create the generational wealth from birth. I can learn how to manage a business and actually put food in someone else's mouth, being my employee, making these mega millions that we're going to make here in California. Right? I can teach all of my people where the wealth comes from and how to expand on it. And how to get into it at a minimum threshold. So,
right.
You know, even though the current market is like trending against that. But I love that social media is even in place because real estate, wealth, stocks, it's trend right now. And everybody is riding a wave, and I love it. Yes, we are becoming millionaires overnight because of social media. So I can't be more happy.
That's big. And let me ask you this. So in terms, you mentioned something earlier in the conversation about generational wealth creators, right? And how important is real estate in that wealth creation process?
It's very important. It can be the number one thing that makes millionaires out of multiple members of your family. And then thinking about real estate, right? So when you think about, okay, I want to get into this game. So you want to have a full conversation about what that looks like, because when I initially started real estate 2.5 years ago, I was like, okay, I can't wait to buy my first house. That was my ultimate goal. Like, we're going to save this money, 20% down payment. We're going to save this money so we can buy this first house. Now, being into the business a few years and understanding more of the investment part of it, understanding the growth of your equity, how you can make your money work for you, being able to flip your money in multiple ways, I'm now actually leaning towards multifamily. I am considering a possible, fourplex or duplex for my first investment, because it's like I can use that to then pay for my home that I live in.
Give you some leverage.
I'm already in an apartment. Why not just, have two apartments? But of course, you will rent one out and so on and so forth. But it's just a full mindset of having the knowledge, but then also knowing how to get into it the right way. You got to know that when you purchase that multifamily, you got to have some money to fix it up. And you're just going to buy it outright. It's going to be turnkey. Of course, it's going to be a lot more money.
Right.
So you're probably going to be buying something that's a little bit more of a fixer-upper. So you got to have a little bit of rental budget. You got to have a budget for if your house is vacant for, X amount of time. You want to make sure that you have a little money set aside for when you turn over your tenants to go in and be able to do some touch-ups. And so there's a little bit different mindset and a little bit different conversations that are had when we're going into multifamily. But I'm almost switching gears, and that's what I want to do. Of course, I have to have a conversation with my significant other, but
of course,
because I gotta make it make sense. He is a logical person, so it's got to make sense.
Fantastic. Well, let me ask you this. So I had a lot of questions, y'all.
No, please.
I'll just keep it going. So, who is Nia outside of real estate?
Ooh, I am my ideal client. Right.
Nice.
And so, because a lot of people get caught up on that, like when they're making their business plan, who's your ideal client? Me. Right. I am outgoing. I love people. I say meeting people is the number one thing. I love meeting new people. Now, after I get to know you, of course, you might not be my people, but getting to know you was amazing. Right. So meeting people, I love movies. I'm a moviegoer. So of course I've been a little sad with COVID when it first hit.
Yeah.
I remember in March of 2020, we were supposed to be going to see Mulan. I was so excited.
Right.
The live action.
Yes, it was actually, yes, we were going to, and it was actually a baby shower movie party. Right?
Wow, how
And
fun.
we were excited for this.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it got canceled because COVID shut everything down.
Everything overnight.
And so we have not been to the movies since February of 2020. So we've been doing a lot of,
Yeah.
we do a lot of the HBO Max, we do the Disney Plus. I can afford it, so I got it all.
I say we do too. We have it all.
Right?
Mhm.
I got my 20% in the bank, so that's
Movie
why I
nights
got
at
my
home.
Hulu. But if you ain't got your 20% in the bank, you don't need to have Hulu.
I got a quick question for you, Miss Nia. So a lot of, in our community, some of these houses have been passed down from generation to generation, right? And a lot of these people are getting a lot of money thrown at them in our communities to sell these homes and move out of our communities. What are your thoughts about that?
They don't sell. But the tragic nature of it is that people have. So if you think about it, the big mamas had houses.
Yeah.
They had houses. When you was going to your grandma's house, your mammy house, they had houses. And what happened? Big mama passed away. And the children were not thinking of the grandchildren of the generational wealth in the family. They were thinking about YOLO. They need their little coin. They need their piece of the property.
Because you see the signs everywhere in the community says buy houses for cash, call this number, and all these signs
but
everywhere.
those are going to be major developers that are going to come in and they're going to gentrify the location. And so they're moving you out so that they can build something bigger and better and then move other people in.
That literally happened to one of my clients. And she's an older woman. Her mother just passed away. And she has 4 siblings. And their mother left a home to them. And my client lives in the mother's home. And pretty much they outvoted her. And now she has to move out because they're going to sell the home.
Yes. So with this particular regards, that's where other things come into place, like estates. You need to have trust and estates put in place for your property so that, if I purchase a home and I want this house, no matter what is happening, to stay in my family, I need to procure the current documents so that it can stay in our family. You buy this house and then you allow the children to come in. They're divided because you got half the kids want to keep the house, half the kids want to sell the house. This person's estranged from the family, but they still have equity in the house. They don't want to be around you guys. So you have division within the family. There was nothing put in place to secure or protect this wealth for the family, and they sell it or they lose it. And then a lot of people need to check up on their parents and check up on these documents and these deeds. You have a lot of families that the parent will pass away, and now you have estates in like probate because there was nothing put in place for them to secure their asset for their family.
Absolutely.
And the family's divided. So it's just a whole process. So it's like, so real story. I went to Barnes and Nobles and I'm walking down the aisle and I see this book and it catches my eye. It says, "I'm dead, now what?" And I honestly picked it up and I was like, "Oh, I gotta buy this." And one of the reasons why, and I know talking about death is very taboo, especially in the Black community, is something we don't talk about, but we need to. That's why life insurance ain't present, and that's why we're having car washes for funerals. So we need to have these conversations. I took this book to my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I need you to fill this out. Like, I love you, and I want to continue to love you when you're no longer here. I don't want to feel the burden of not being able to grieve you because I'm trying to figure out the estates. I'm trying to figure out who's going to pay for what." So it's very important for us to not only buy these homes and procure this wealth, but to protect it.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point that you just brought up in terms of legacy and passed down trust and estates and wills, things of that nature. And a bit of a wild card question, but real estate and life insurance, right? What connections have you seen between those two industries?
Well, I'm actually going to be having a consultation soon with a young lady I just recently met. And she actually, I met her through some mutual friends, i.e. Mario. But we're going to be having a conversation about getting into life insurance because from what I understand, I don't know all of the bits and pieces, which is why I'm having this consultation with her. But getting into life insurance will also allow you some of the monetary gain that you need to procure real estate. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
So you can pull from some of these policies as you get older, especially if you buy into them young. So I am in the process of trying to have a child. And that's why I'm already thinking about this. I want to get everything set up before I even conceive technically. But yes, there's a lot of information out there, even with the stocks and the bonds and the trading that everyone's doing. And so all of it is just a threshold to get into real estate.
Yeah, and that's a really good point you brought up. Like, I know right now you're a real estate agent, but it sounds like you also want to buy property. Like
Yes, I want to be an
invest into,
investor.
right, multi-family homes. And there's a concept called infinite banking. And we won't get too deep into this. I know it's a real estate episode, but this is important for other real estate agents and brokers and investors that are listening to this episode, because there's a concept called infinite banking where you can make money off of the same dollar twice, right? So essentially you purchase a property and then you borrow against your life insurance policy or your infinite banking policy, and then you take that money that you grossed from that property and you reinvest it back into your policy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And now, so instead of borrowing money from the bank, for example, where you're only paying interest, right, you can actually earn money on the money that you're investing as well as the money that you have inside of your infinite banking policy. So that's like next level to the game. That's really important for other people you come across, especially.
You might have to charge them for that.
Right? I'm
But
like,
that was like, that
we
was,
need to have a conversation after this.
you know, if I'm in my car right now and I just heard that, I might have to go back and listen to that again, you know?
They know where to find it. But that's a good one. That's a good one. And I mean, aside from that, right, like, do you see yourself owning your own real estate company?
So I have big dreams. Ooh,
that's
right?
a good one.
I have big dreams. So my name is Nia, and it means purpose. And ever since I was little and I understood that, I would draw from my name for guidance. I would draw from my name for when I'm about to make a big decision, really having the purpose of what I'm doing, what is going into this decision. You know, how is it going to impact not just me, but my community? Purpose is also, or Nia is also the 5th day of Kwanzaa. So I, even though don't necessarily have that religion, I do embrace my name and everything that it means. And so when it comes to what I have to offer, prior to real estate, I was making gift baskets.
Wow.
And I think it comes from my love of just craft and design. I love furniture, but I also told you that my grandmother was an interior designer when I was younger. So she would change the house multiple times throughout the year and do it with a very small budget and just really changing out a lot of the fabrics, changing the upholstery. You know, and so because of that, I started doing gift baskets. I love gift baskets. I feel like, especially when they're really personal, you love getting a gift basket or a box or just something, because all those things in there, all those little trinkets are for you, right? So my the name of that business was Baskets on Purpose. And so I'm trying to think about if I want to incorporate purpose to my real estate stuff, but when it also talks about generational wealth, if I am going to create a brokerage, which I have talked about, my sister is currently in the process of becoming a realtor.
Family business.
Sister is in the process of becoming a transaction coordinator, because within real estate, there's so many different avenues of what you can do and how you can make money. I don't make money just off of buying and selling homes. I have referral business. I have different things that I sell. You know, so it just depends on what you want for your family. So in terms of creating my own real estate brokerage, yes, that is coming down the line. It will be Williams. So first it was going to be Williams and Waters, right? Because that's my last name and the last name of my sister. But I said, you know what? Let's just make it a family affair. All of my siblings, our last names are Williams, Waters, and Moore.
Ooh, so, I love it.
I said, we sound like a law firm, don't we?
Yes.
So, we are going to be Williams, Waters, and Moore Brokerage.
How lovely. That's
so
wonderful.
It's coming, but I'm trying to get everyone in place. Like I said, my sister's becoming a realtor. My brother already does welding. So I want to also break into the construction side of it. I have a lot of people in construction, and I feel like that just goes hand in hand with real estate, especially when we want to build some of these homes up, because we know that we can't always purchase that turnkey. Those turnkey houses are selling $100,000 over asking price. So you can't purchase that. So let's think about a different way of doing it, and let me create that way for you. Let you be able to come to me for the real estate agent part of it. Let you be able to come to me for the construction part of it. I want to be able to know that when I put you in a home, I'm not just selling that house to you. Remember, we talked about this earlier. It's a whole process, because I want to be able to help you sell that house within the 5 to 10 years when you want to buy your new one.
Absolutely.
What would you tell people that might be interested in this line of work?
Good question.
You have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And you have to be able to understand that, like I said before, this game is pay to play. Even coming into real estate, there's a threshold of how much you're going to spend. So let's talk about that. If I decide tomorrow I want to be a real estate agent, it's not going to just happen like that. You have to do some things first. You have to get your credentials. So you have to go through some type of class where they're going to allow you to take your principles and practice courses, and then some type of elective. I chose to do financing because we know that that's where the money is at. I need to understand the money so that I can explain it to my clients. But there are other elective courses that you can take, like appraisal and things like that. So it just depends on what your overall goal is. Of why you're getting your license, right? Because you can get your real estate license and not necessarily practice real estate. You can do property management, you can become a transaction coordinator, you can become an appraiser. So there are different avenues to just getting your real estate license. But I took a course through Real Estate U. They are a company based in New York, but they have California courses. It was $99. Wow. $99.
Wow.
To get in the game.
To get in the game. Yeah. And that's just, again, to get your principles, practices, and your elective. Yeah. But $99, they give you 1 year access. So you have 1 year to get through these courses. Yeah. But you also need to know how you learn while you're doing this. If you're someone that knows that they need to be in a classroom setting and ask a teacher and raise their hand and have those conversations amongst peers, you need to go to a school, because the online courses it's recorded. So the way that I did it, I had my iPad and I would take my courses on my iPad. I had my laptop set up with my vocabulary and the workbooks that they would send me for those courses. And then I had my iPhone and I would ask Siri different things. So reading and going through the courses, if there was anything vocabulary that I need to pick up on, I would understand what that meant. Then if there was something else, I would maybe ask Siri for her to pull up a few different articles for me to be able to read to gain knowledge. But there was really no one to teach me or help me through this. Yes, I knew a few people in the game that I would follow their careers, but you got to know, again, it's pay to play. So after I got my courses, now mind you, when I left my real estate, my job at the rental car company, my boyfriend gave me a year off of work.
Wow.
And
what a nice boyfriend.
Yes, he's awesome.
Shout out your boyfriend.
There we go. So he gave me a year off of work.
Come on.
And had I known then what I know now, I would not have taken that year. Okay. The reason why is, and I'm giving y'all so much game for people that are trying to get their license. The reason why is, when you go through these courses of your real estate principles, practices, and your elective, they do not teach you how to sell real estate. They teach you the ethics, the definitions, the core history.
The basics.
They teach you the basics of real estate. They do not teach you how to sell. So then I took that year while I was going through that process, not knowing that once I actually got my license, I needed that year then. I wish I would have, but it's neither here nor there.
It was a learning moment.
But I teach a class now with a few up and coming people who are trying to get their licenses. And I'm just helping them through it. It's like I didn't have anybody to show me what to do, so I'm going to show them exactly what I did, how much it cost. And so you can always contact me for that. I'll give my information at the end. So after you take that initial class, you then have to take your state exam, your state board exam. And before you take that, because you got to realize when you're learning through that initial class, it's definition based. An acre is this, an easement is that. That test that you take is going to be situational based. So seller Sally hired builder Bob to build a swimming pool, right? So it's a completely different mind frame of how you study. So another plug is Prep Agent, prepagent.com. So after I took my initial core classes, I then registered with Prep Agent. It's very inexpensive. I registered with Prep Agent so that I can take all of their practice tests. I didn't do anything else on Prep Agent, but take practice tests. I didn't do their vocabulary. I didn't do their flashcards. I took every practice test they had. While I was in the doctor's room waiting for the doctor to come in, I was taking a test. While I was sitting at the light or in traffic because I was sitting still for 2-3 minutes at a time, I was taking a test. And then also what I did is I actually registered to take my test before I started studying. The reason why is because some people procrastinate. You see how I said some people?
Some people. Raise your hand if you're some people.
So because and I put things in, I know who I am, right? So I put things in place so that I can succeed. I know that I procrastinate when it comes to me. Now, when it comes to my clients, that's a different thing. But when it comes to me, I'm beholden to myself. I procrastinate. I registered for my test for my date so that I can give myself a deadline. Because I knew that if I hadn't, I would just be, I'm still studying, or I'm not sure, or I don't know.
Absolutely.
So I registered so that I can give myself a deadline. And then I took that test. And I gave myself about a month. I took that test and I passed it on the first try.
Good for you.
Yes, you have no idea the excitement. I was literally the last person that walked out of there, and I didn't care. I looked around, I was like, oh, everybody gone? And the girl walking around, she was like, take your time. I said, you know, and so and then,
I'll do that.
Yes, and she walked me out, and I would never, I don't remember her name, but this young lady, we had a whole moment. She walked me out, and I was the last person. She was like, I want to be able to walk you out, and I was like, okay. So she walked me to the elevator, and she was like, I wanted to let you know that you passed. Oh, the water works.
Yes.
We was crying, we was praying. It was so beautiful, and I was like, thank you, you know. And so, and I just and I took my test. It was a very memorable moment because I took my test on my mother's birthday.
Wow.
I was like, because I needed everything to just work for me. I was like, okay. I was like,
I need the stars.
All the stars in our lives.
The stars were aligned.
So I was like, I need this to be important to me.
Yeah.
I need this to be like a milestone for me.
Well,
so,
what I was going to say then too is that it sounds like from everything that you're saying, from your own experience and from the teaching that you do with other people, that ultimately, just like kind of any other business venture that we embark upon, you have to be passionate, you have to be committed, because your line of work is not an easy line of work.
It's not.
It's not a get rich quick scheme. You have to be very, very committed.
You gotta love what you do.
You have to love what you do, and you have to not be afraid of hard work.
Yes, and you also need to know the knowledge, though. I mean, let's be honest. I came into this game with no knowledge.
Right.
And I did not take that lightly. And I think some people do. I am literally going to be the coach of someone, helping them through one of the largest transactions of their lives. How dare I come into this and think that that is a frivolous thing, or that I can just halfway know this information and put your money in jeopardy.
Right.
You know, so I think that, you know, I want to make sure that I make sure I touch base on that, because it is very important. My first client, I was transparent. She knew she was my first client. My first client was assistant manager from one of my previous employments. She was someone that I already knew closely. We worked together for years. And I was not going to lie to her in any fault to say, oh yes, I've been doing this for a while, or no, exactly. No. Baby girl, we on this trip together. It's me and you, boo. But I got the guidebook, and I got a whole force of people behind me. My realtor, my broker, is a top broker. Our office is number one in the East Bay. We have market share. You know, the top realtors come out of my offices. So I knew that I had a force behind me that I could tap into. My first client paid $2,500 out of pocket for her home.
Wow.
I was like, I get that.
Oh my
Super
goodness.
excited, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I love the thing, we've talked about this so many times on this show. I love how your focus is not on you making money. Your focus, and I think that that's ultimately the key to real, true success, right? Your focus is on helping the people.
Yes.
Helping, because you mentioned giving your clients keys for Christmas.
Yes.
Like that is such an important moment in somebody else's life. And, you know, they always say, you know, do what you love and you don't work a day in your life, or whatever that phrase is. And it sounds like you have really taken that to heart, because what you do is so important for so many reasons, on so many levels. Helping somebody, it's a huge financial thing for families and for individuals. And so I really just want to commend you on what you're doing for the community. And I know we're about to wrap it up, because Kat is giving me the face. He's giving me the look, trying to wrap it up. But I just want to say thank you so much, because that was everything you dropped. And I was really excited to have you here today, because I personally have made so many mistakes. And it's so important to have somebody that's willing to teach the people on what to do. So,
and there's so
thank
much
you
more
so much.
education out there.
So much.
Tap in.
Yes. Thank you so much. Kat, what you got to say over there?
Well, you know, Nia, if you've been listening since the beginning of this episode, like, you have to make sure that you write some of this stuff down, because she was dropping so many jewels. I'm looking, I'm like, wow. Bomb.
Yep.
for everybody.
Rewind it.
Yeah, you got to go
Yes.
back and listen to this one again, y'all. But for more people that want to further their education or just want to get, more information on being a first-time home buyer in the Bay Area or just period, how can they get in contact with you, Miss Nia?
I'm on social media. I have Instagram with Nia Williams _realtor. I'm on Facebook with Nia Williams. You can contact me via email at nia.williams@kw.com, or you can contact me at my other email at nnwilliams30@yahoo. So I'm around.
Okay.
Stop in at the office. We're in Walnut Creek.
And before we get out of here, is there any prime real estate that you can recommend to our viewers that's around the Bay Area or in the outskirts of the Bay Area that they should be checking out right now?
No prime real estate per se, because the Bay Area is hot everywhere.
Okay.
But get in is what I would say. Even if it's a condo, buy it. The appreciation is there. The equity is there.
Yeah.
Get in that condo, and then a year later, get you something bigger, because you have to get in.
Yes.
Because right now you're going to be priced out. If not, you're going to wind up moving out. So if you're ready to move to Stockton or Modesto, but it's starting to get up there too. So get in where you can.
Okay, make a move.
All right. Well, thank you once again tuning in to 96.9 KGPC. Miss Kenya, can you give them your outlets where they can find you?
Yes, sir. So you can find me at Ruby Envy on Instagram. You can find me at Ruby Envy on Facebook. Coincidentally, you can find me at Ruby Envy on Twitter, Ruby Envy Wellness. We help women get their mind, body, and spirit together, and I will hold your hand through it. Where can they find you, Kat?
They can find me on IG at CatFitness3. You can also find me on Facebook at Cat Fitness, and you can check out the website at www.catfitnesswellnesscenter.com. And Brother Kwesi, where can they find you at?
Absolutely. So if you're looking for all things finance, all things insurance, all things education, you can find me at kwesi.dreams on Instagram. You can also find our company at Alignment Agency. That's at Alignment AGNCY. All things finance, insurance, and education.
And make sure that you follow our IG page at ach.show on Instagram. And for more great episodes like this, continue to tune in every Friday, y'all. Thank you for tuning in once again, and we will see you next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Boom. And that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
All
That
right,
was
y'all.
so nice. Holy crap, that was
Are
so
you
good,
live?
you guys.
Huh?
Are you
Yeah,
live?
we're live.
Oh.
We're live. Come on, we're going live with
That was
it.
good.
That was
Yeah.
so
That was
awesome.
All right, y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't got to go home, but you feel better?
No, that was cool. I'm like I said, there's so much more information.
That was
literally a tip of the iceberg.
I'm glad
Yeah.
we told everybody where to
You know,
find
but
you too.
but that's the thing too.
That was
People gotta
amazing.
understand how to get their money up
Yeah.
in California, or switch your mindset. If you know that California is maybe not where you need to buy, because that was something I was thinking too. I want to flip houses, but I realized I'm not doing it in California.
Right.
The cost is too high,
Yes.
especially because when you're flipping, you want to have that cash flow.
Mhm.
And I can buy a house in St. Louis for $150,000.
Yeah,
I
it's
bought
something-
mine in Kansas City in the Brookside area.
Mhm.
Ours was like $170,000, and people were like, "I'll pay too much," but we were coming from California,
Yeah.
so we were like, "We
That-
robbing
that
these
is a-
people
what is
blind,"
that?
like because it was so big.
Like
Not
that is
like-
that is a gem right there.
Everybody look at me. Everybody look. Cheese. Wait, let me get my new fake hair in the front. Hold on. Everybody look. Cheese. Okay. So Garvey is here, you guys. She's
Perfect.
outside.
Yeah, we gotta connect.
Absolutely.
You gotta connect. What's the best
I'm
way
gonna
to
be calling
connect?
Mecca because
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I seen her do something on Instagram, and I reposted her for my WCW. I was like, oh, because she was talking about health insurance or life insurance while pregnant, or like before the baby comes, so that you can be. And the only reason it resonated with me is because I have friends from high school who had a baby. They were on their third or fourth child trying to have a girl because they had all boys. She had her girl died within like 2-3 months. And the husband is in insurance and did not have insurance for his baby. And so that was so sad. And I was like, okay, they can't be me. I'm like, look.
Yeah, let's talk about it. And also, like, it breaks my heart when people say, it's too much or it costs too much, right? Because at the end of the day, especially working in finance, there's more than enough money out here for all of us.
And not even that, they need to switch their mindset. The same thing with car insurance. you can have that liability, have an accident, 4 people, 2 people go to the hospital. Now you out $60,000-$70,000. Whereas if you had full coverage, $30 a month more, you wouldn't have that issue. You'd be protected. I have $150,000 on my car. I got a Ford Fusion. Damn near more than the car.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, because also if I have a client in my car, look, I ain't got time. Get sued. I pay my errors and emissions insurance. So like if I get sued, I got $5 million of coverage there.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, they be tripping.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know what? It's about the way you say it to them too. Somebody ain't talking to you right.
Right.
So let me talk to you the right way. You know, and then sometimes they want to see it. Oh, you ain't there yet. You ain't there yet. Okay, well, I'm on my way. So look, when I get there, I'm gonna start paying you. I'm gonna start charging for it.
Exactly.
So,
we're gonna keep it going, but yeah, give her a call. I know she's super busy, so the sooner the better. So we got some things to discuss. I can already tell.
I'm excited. Like, I think Joseph's going back to Comcast. We're waiting for them to call him back now. But I think they're gonna allow him to keep his seniority, which will allow us. It will put us in the position to buy our house like now. So I'm like, because we needed his work history. And that was one of the biggest things that I was like fearful of. I'm like, we have the money's sitting in the account. I need your work history so we can actually look good on paper. Like, and so if they allow him to keep his seniority, we like ready to buy a house today. And so, and it's weird that I feel some type of way that I'm a realtor selling houses and I ain't got one yet. Like, hold on. You know, so yes, but I'm trying to get there.
You ain't trying to get there. You there.
Yeah. I'm actually doing a IG live with my last client. She just closed in April. And we're going to talk about her whole process, so transparent from her perspective. Because, you know, from the professional perspective, you might want to say the nice things or, you know, kind of gloss over. Yeah, right. So I want to hear from her. What were some of those pitfalls? What were some of those moments that maybe I protected you when you felt protected? What were some of the moments that maybe you felt like I dropped the ball? I want to hear it because realistically that allows me to get better. You know, and make sure that I don't make the same mistake for the next client. But it's just a way to be completely transparent because we went through a few obstacles because first we were looking for turnkey. She was pre-approved for not that much, and you know she didn't have a lot of money to work with. She had a decent amount, but it